and never a bore. You haven't heard it like this before. Yes, it's time to explore the things we care for. And though your jaw may hit the floor, we're still the weirdos you adore. We're the weirdos next door.
Hello, this is Nobi, he, him.
And this is Nicole, they, she.
And together we are
The Weirdos Next Door.
It was a beautiful thing. Definitely a beautiful thing.
Sure.
So, hello everybody. We are back, and we are here to play some of the and card game. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good?
Sure.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
Let's do the dang thing.
We'll do it. I'm trying to get something set here. Hold on. All right. That should be okay. All right. First card. Ooh. Choose 5 words to describe my future that I don't dare imagine. What? I have a big imagination.
You do.
I have a humongous imagination. I don't know if I have the biggest imagination in the world. No, that's impossible to say. But I can imagine some
Only 5 words?
5 words to describe my future that I don't dare imagine.
Grandkids. That's definitely one.
That is definitely one. And actually, I do think about it every now and then, to be honest.
I know you think about it. It's just one of those where like you're not the kind of parent to ever do the, well, when are you gonna have kids? So it's like I feel like it's one of those that like you think about passively. Sounds like we have a coyote in the neighborhood.
That's our neighbor's sad dog.
Yeah. So I think it's one of those where it's like it's a passive imagination.
Yeah, I don't yearn to be a grandparent.
But
I really don't.
I think it's one of those that like if it happened, you would be very happily surprised.
Yes, I would love it very much. I'm pretty sure I would. I'd be
You're
like,
pretty sure.
I'd be bad grandpa.
Oh, you'd spoil the shit out of that thing.
But I'd also be bad.
Yeah.
Like I'll teach them bad things. This is how you roll a joint.
So, I mean, I learned from your kid, so
It's everything.
yeah, it's
everything's
the circle of life.
Circle of life. A circle of life.
You taught my girlfriend. I taught your kid.
Terrible. That's only one word though.
I know that was one.
Okay,
that's
one
word.
Choose 5 words.
They don't dare imagine. Like that's the hard part.
I know exactly what I want. I'm trying to figure out how to word it. Confidence.
Ow.
Why is that ow?
I don't dare ever imagine myself having confidence.
No, that's not what I meant. I said, wait, I'm looking. Okay, see, I'm I'm a word dude here, and I'm having trouble. Like I'm not playing enough Scrabble and Word Finder and what's that?
Get your kid back up here.
Whatever. Oh wait, what was I saying? You're still trying to think of words.
Yeah.
I guess not. It's not confidence, but it's like being at peace, being very comfortable. I feel like I think both of us feel like we want to be at a point where we don't worry about
very
anything.
Self-assured.
Yes.
Yeah, that's probably the right word
But
for
it's
both of us.
it's hard to
More
imagine. It's
self-assured.
hard to. I think it's both of us to imagine. Like, what is that like? I think I've been like that at times in my life. And it's usually when I start a new job.
Yeah. When you're at your cockiest going in.
Yes, the honeymoon period. Yes, you go in there and like you affect all these changes. Usually for me, it was like reinstituting the alcohol policy, and so of unbanning alcohol. because
Oh,
I,
wine breakfast.
because
Yes.
because oh yeah, I mean, I had one team that would come in the morning to my office and go, I go yes, and they go, breakfast wine, and I'd be like, I just grab a bottle off my desk and hand it to them. I was like, help yourself.
You douchebag.
I'm an enabler. But that was a thing.
Yeah,
Drinking was a
I
thing.
think self-assured and like authenticity would probably be the two other,
What authenticity, in terms of like not
like
feeling like
living our lives in like the most authentic way, not
to anybody else's
Yeah.
or societal mores,
yes,
norms.
which we've gotten
norms,
close, but like of course there's still those scenarios when we're in certain situations where it's hard not to backpedal,
Yeah.
hard not to mask and change those behaviors because that the authenticity is not safe or welcome.
Security.
Yeah.
And I mean security. It can mean secure. In terms of thinking of security this way, it is for me is physical, prevention from physical harm or any kind of like malady or like that. So the security in knowing that like if I go out, I'm not gonna get punched in the face, because I think about that all the time.
Yeah. I think
Right.
we've talked about the fact that both of us are incredibly hypervigilant
And I think security applies to you as well in that respect, because
Yes.
I think it's hard for you to imagine being able to walk out and not have a care in the world and not have to be on your guard.
Yep.
Right? And that's unfortunate.
Yep.
That really is unfortunate.
It isn't a fun way to have to go through the world.
No. So unless you're, cishet white male,
Yep.
you're always looking over your shoulder, because there's going to be a cishet white male to fuck you up.
Yep.
Or-
likely.
Or a person of color that has been brainwashed, whitewashed,
Yep.
into being a Candace Owen. Or any Republican Asians. Seriously? Seriously? Do you know what they think of us? Anyway. Those not... So how many words we got?
Let's see. Self-assured, authenticity, security.
Security.
I had grandkids,
Yeah.
so I have 4 for you.
Uh,
Yeah, probably some sort of fulfillment.
Sanity.
purpose.
Sanity.
Oh well, that's not even.
Is that too easy? Was that like a low hanging fruit?
Well, we know we will never be able to achieve that.
Well, yeah, I guess. Is it too sad to say happiness?
No, absolutely not.
I think, yeah. I mean, can you imagine a time when we were like truly happy? We had many of those moments.
We've had moments, but I think that's just kind of like the human condition of there's always those things that are knocking on your door to remind you that you got shit to do and responsibilities, and sometimes you're able to forget about it for a second or longer if you're really lucky.
All right, you read one.
What do you think is the hardest thing about being your partner?
What do I think is the hardest thing for me?
No, what do you think is the hardest thing about me being your partner? What do you think is the hardest for me?
Oh, that. So, what is tough? Because you are my partner, that is causing you to have some kind of difficulty.
Mm-hmm.
What is the hardest thing about being my? Let me later. What do you think is the hardest thing? What do you think is the hardest thing being your partner? Okay, this could apply to anybody, because if I putting up with me. I know I'm a very strong personality. I'm very opinionated, and I do have a very acerbic manner. And I've worked on this. I've always been sort of like the negger. That was part of like, you would like, you'd be self-deprecating. I would be self-deprecating to myself, but I would neg others, right? And kind of just kind of give them a hard time. And it has gone to the point where I didn't know when to stop. And people have been, we have a wheezy dog.
He dreaming.
Stupid dog. And I've noticed this, and I'll probably have to cover this in my not even yet launched show, Madman Musing, but I don't think I've ever voiced this out loud, but I have noticed a lot of people I was really closest with when I was working, like work colleagues, who, not like my tight best friends, from work, but like people I felt like were still strong in my circle, actually some best friends too, ended up ghosting me. And I think it has to be me. I think I'm a very, I'm not easy to get along with. I think I've gotten easier to get along with.
Yeah.
And I do credit you for helping to civilize me. Or
now I have to do it all over again.
Well, it's not like, it's more like making, I think what really helps is like we would talk about how we like to be spoken to, how we like things phrased. And so thanks to you, I think about my words often before I spout them out. I do I look at it through the lens now of like, is this a necessary dig? Can we phrase it into like, a positive, or just like, gloss over it? Or say, that's okay, I do that too.
Yeah. No, I got to the point where I remind people that if it's not something someone can fix in 5 seconds, it's not, you don't criticize it. If it's not something stuck in my teeth that my zipper's down, like, you don't say something about my weight gain or something I have absolutely no control over, the fact that I haven't got that promotion yet. Like, if it's not something I have control over to fix, please don't criticize it. And it's not that, like, that's a conversation you and I have had to have.
No.
Like, we have a very teasing back and forth.
Right.
But, like, you've also, you respect these are the things that you are not allowed to talk about.
And those things I have probably issues with also, so I do not talk about them.
Yeah. Because my no-no zones are weight and intelligence. And skin. I don't like when people talk about my skin.
What do you think is...
Which sounds super
is the
creepy.
hardest thing about...
Being my partner?
Yeah.
Probably also having to put up with me. And it's not necessarily because I'm a strong personality, it's just that I can go through some intense emotions, and sometimes they can be very big and can end up like taking over the energy in the room.
Yeah. Yeah. We've learned how to handle those situations, though.
Yes, we've got better at it.
Okay.
But yeah, I think that's the hardest part. Just that I it sounds like very cocky. I have the power to shift the energy in a room. Yes.
Well, one of the things I've learned is how to self-soothe myself.
Yeah,
if I get too amped up or anxious, like my inner child's acting out.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, we have time for a few more.
Mm-hmm.
This is a fun one. How has having or not having children affected our relationship?
That's an interesting one. And I feel like we've talked about kind of doing an episode strictly on this also.
I have kids who are adults,
Yes,
and Nicole has no children.
I am intentionally childless.
And when we met, you pretty much were clear that, like, nope, no want babies.
Yep, hard no.
And I think that's what, how did it affect our relationship? It actually, I don't know if it made a relationship stronger, or...
I think it's just been a blessing to
Yeah.
our age gap, because I feel like that's often one of the bigger conflicts in age gap relationships.
Right. Is like the younger partner one. Not necessarily the younger partner.
Not necessarily the
have
younger
babies
partner. It can go either
right?
way.
Because like, what was that recent episode, recently in The Conners
Yes.
on TV, Harrison, the teenage
Yes.
daughter of
Darlene.
Darlene, was dating this older meathead guy, and he was like, "Yeah, now it's time. We're gonna have a baby right away." And she's like, "No, I still need a, I don't want to.
I want to wait. I want to have kids eventually, but not right now.
And for him, it was his biological clock ticking, as in terms of like, I don't want to be an old man
Taking care of a baby.
chasing after, a 5-year-old.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine doing that. Like, I can't imagine, like, my sister. My sister has, well, they're not young anymore. I think the youngest is like 14 or 15.
Oh, jeez.
But my sister's old. she an old lady. And hey,
You're so mean.
no, it's true though. I'm old too. I'm older than her.
It's like when we've talked about it, I'm like, do you think your 20-something-year-old children would like a brand new baby sibling? No, they would not.
I don't know. I honestly don't know if they would care or not. I think they might be kind of like, you know what it is? Babies are puppies. Babies are kittens.
Oh, absolutely.
Once they show up, it's like, because
it's so cute.
I've
I'll play
heard
with it,
wow.
and then I'll give it right back to you.
I've heard so many stories, or I've witnessed so many like families that
They
didn't,
just like babies.
It's especially mixed marriages, interracial marriages.
Mm-hmm.
Oftentimes, the one partner gets disowned by their family for being with who they chose to be, but then when a baby comes, that can really soften things up.
Mm-hmm.
It's like
The grandparents all of a sudden want to be grandparents.
because it's a baby still,
Mm-hmm.
and it's part of my blood, though it looks like a chink. I can say that. Anyway, but I think just another thing that sort of like made us similar.
Yeah,
With,
because I'm very happy that you get to be a dad, and that is part of your personality.
Yeah.
So like, I'm glad that you got to fulfill that part of your life.
Yeah.
I'm glad that I didn't have to be a part of it, which is why I'm also glad that they're adult children, because I'm not a step parent. I have nothing to do with quote unquote raising them or dealing with the your ex-wife. Like, we don't have to have a relationship for the kids.
Oh, that's true, right? Because
Like,
when you have kids that and there's custody.
yeah, you have to deal with co-parenting regardless.
Yeah.
So like, I'm thankful that like we don't have to do that.
Yeah. So
Because your kids were already 18 plus when y'all got divorced, and in their 20s before we even met.
I think we got divorced before my youngest entered their 20s.
Oh.
I think.
That's what I said. Like, they were 18 plus.
Oh, 18.
So weren't they?
They went to...
Your youngest was either just about to graduate or...
They went to college. I remember moving them into college, and I think we're either separated or divorced. And so there's that one picture of us, like, at the freshman orientation, and there's like kid, and then my ex and I on each side of kid, looking kind of like,
This is awkward.
family pictures, no more. Anyway, so that
like,
was just that was a happy coincidence, right?
Yeah.
That was one thing we didn't have to cover,
Mm-hmm.
because it could have been a big sticking point if you really wanted to have babies.
Yeah.
I would have to like reverse my vasectomy first
Yep.
of all.
Which, since it's been 20 plus years,
Yeah.
it's not guaranteed to be as effective, and it's also a more dangerous surgery.
I should have saved some of my boys. What do you think about
Well,
this?
at that point, you were married with a wife and
three children.
3 kids,
I'm
and
kinda
you
like,
were
I'm
like, all right,
done.
we're good. We
I'm
don't
done.
need any more of these.
I'm done. Snip me, doc. Yeah,
Um,
that's a responsible thing, dudes. Be responsible.
Yep.
Take care of it yourself.
And
Get snipped. It's nothing.
and I've never wanted
It's
them.
outpatient. Right.
Like,
You love kids, but you have no desire to have one of your own.
no.
Although, you and I would make super cute fucking babies.
They'd be adorable. I have told you, though, we would never know where it is.
They'd be little chubs running around.
They'd be stupid cute. But between your creativity and my need for shenanigans and trouble, we would never know where the hell it is.
Was true. Also,
That thing would be sneaky and smart and...
if Smudge is any indication what it would be like if we had a child together, we would not be ruling the house.
We'd be screwed.
Yeah, it'd be like all hail the little baby weirdo.
Like, but I know that we, like, if that was a route we went, like, that kid would be raised with so much, like, empathy and kindness and, like...
For me, because, like, you know, I've talked to my kids as adults, and it's been relayed to me that, you know, the situation growing up for them was a little too patriarchal, and I admit it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I came from that. You know, where you know, it was a very patriarchal, and
Dad's the breadwinner and
but I will have to say
runs the house.
No, I think that the wife ran the house. But what is it? But that was like, it wasn't like I didn't want necessarily that role.
Mm-hmm.
But we discussed it when we're just about to have a second one.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it was like we're talking, and with 2 kids, we talked, and the wish of my ex was to be a stay-at-home mom.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, you know, she would have been happy if I said, "No, you got to work because I need a Ferrari." You know,
I need my fun money.
You need to make me my fun money. Now, yeah, that would not have gone over well. That would have been me being selfish and not thinking of, you know, best interest of the kids. All right, I think we have time for one quick one.
We were talking about like what sort of environment our Rugrat would be raised in now. So you were talking about not building that patriarchal society now, or that patriarchal household.
Right.
Oh, wait. Quick addition onto that question, though.
Mm-hmm.
There is also the fact that, I mean, and it's slightly current eventy, and we've also discussed it as far as the pandemic goes. Like, I'm thankful that we haven't had to make those choices over the past few years as to whether to send our kids to school in the middle of a pandemic or when it's not safe for them, period.
You know, first of all, being a kid during the pandemic has to be super shitty.
Yeah, especially for ADHD kids or any kid with any sort of learning disability, our kid would be pretty much guaranteed to have.
So, yeah, and not every parent is capable or willing to provide what their children should be getting at school, at home.
Yeah.
And then that's when things go bad. I think we're going to have, it's kind of interesting, this whole, like, you know, generation pandemic, generation COVID or whatever. This group, I don't know, it's going to be really interesting. I think they're going to be less interactive with people and more like, kind of like, by themselves, I think.
I mean, we've been teaching individualism for a very, very long time. It's just that these kids got a full-on crash course.
Yeah.
In a really hard way. But yeah, I'm very thankful that we haven't been having to make those sorts of decisions.
Yeah.
Over the last couple of years, because like we luckily would have been in a situation, I mean, had all things like the rest of our situation been equal, we would have been able to figure out homeschooling for them through the pandemic. And I mean, luckily with you being semi-retired, we probably could figure out a way to keep it going, since I doubt you or I would be keen on sending Rugrats to school these days.
No way. No way. Oh, especially with all the fucking mass shootings.
Exactly. It's like, I know that I was an anxious being when I graduated in the aughts. Like, and that's kind of when the uptick started happening again.
Yeah.
So like I can only imagine what these kids feel growing up now.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm glad we don't have to make those decisions.
Yeah. That's thankful.
Yep.
Alrighty. One last quick question.
Okay.
Oh. When were you most afraid for me? When were you most afraid for me? At first glance, I thought it was, when were you most afraid of me? And I was like, that's what I was going, oh. But no, it was, I go, oh, okay. I actually read further and it was for me. When were you most afraid for me? For me.
Anxiety brain says that one night that like all of the shit hit the fan and you peeled off out of a bar parking lot and drove away from me without saying anything. There was that night, which led to you like yelling at a neighbor in our old neighborhood.
Yeah, they were parked in my parking space. And it wasn't even a neighbor, it was the neighbor's it was a neighbor's employee. Okay.
But like,
calm down.
didn't mean to trigger you.
Take a Ritalin. Okay.
That's a stimulant.
Oh, okay, whatever. I meant check your Ritalin. Check your Ritalin.
So like, I was scared that like when you took off from like the bar we had gone to or found you at, because you turned off your location services.
I was mad.
Turned off your phone.
I was angry.
I don't even remember what it was about.
I don't know either.
Who knows?
Well, I know. I was pissed off. and then you know, I don't do that anymore. Like driving angry. Mm-hmm. Most of the time, unless it's road rage. But yeah, I think every relationship I've had, I've done like angry driving, like angry. Yeah. And most of the times, probably shouldn't be driving because of, you know,
high emotions.
Well, that and also it's usually after drinking. Yeah. So, you know, I'm alive and I haven't hurt anybody. I haven't killed anybody, so thank God. But I don't do that anymore, and I don't even drink anymore, really.
Yeah, so like leaving the bar when you left there definitely was like, he's gonna do something stupid. He's gonna hurt himself or hurt someone or something. But also it triggered some of my own childhood stuff, which we have since talked about, and that's part of why you're like, I don't do that anymore, because you're respectful of the fact that brings up a lot of very
it's kind of triggery.
Yeah, very direct abandonment.
I understand.
So, yeah, and then also the getting into a verbal altercation with the person next door was like, again, I don't do raised voices and yelling for similar reasons. It's incredibly activating for me. So it's just, that's probably the biggest time that I was afraid for you, that you were like just gonna, like the whole typical like seeing red, you were just gonna like black out and do something real dumb. But that's also the one and only time I've seen you like angry like that.
Yeah.
So
I think for me,
we've got worked up, but like that's probably the first time one and only time I've seen you angry.
I mean, you know, aside from like when you're like on a nonstop, you know, 24-hour drive, you know, to make it back to visit your family, I'm very afraid for you, that being out, you know,
in the middle of nowhere by myself.
Yeah.
Knowing what happens to
lonely
girls in the middle of middle of deserts.
To lonely white girls.
Which is why I have multiple knives in my car and
multiple stabbies. All right.
Yeah, no, that's a fair afraid. Just I think we have general fears of each other going through the world.
Yeah.
Because it's a dangerous spot for both of us.
When you go in your surgery, I think I was afraid for you.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, Should we like read something else that's not so heavy? Oh, this is an interesting one because it's not about us, but it is.
Okay.
Who do you think relies on us the most and why? That's an interesting question. It's not really about us, but it is because it's why do people count on us? Who do you think relies on us the most and why? What are you going to say?
Smudge, Rocket, and Moxie.
Well, of course, because we feed them, and that's the only reason they're here is because
Their entire existence depends on us.
yeah, easy food. That's all.
And the chickens.
They're here for the food.
But as far as the people,
Who actually relies on us, counts on us. I mean,
I think we have people who know that they can rely on us. And it's not necessarily that we are the most consistent because both, like, I know I suck at texting back and I can barely even get you to leave the house to see friends anymore.
yes, that's another episode.
But
we're not going to name names or anything like that, and I don't even know if there's anybody who fits this model, but I think everybody who chooses to rely on us knows that they're in a safe space with us.
yes.
That we're not going to judge. We just have their best interests in mind. And we accept them for whoever they are, whatever they identify as. Unless that's a serial killer or a rapist or something like that, right? Obviously, right?
Yep.
So nothing criminal. But I think people feel like they're secure around us.
Yep.
Like they can be themselves. That's it. Yeah.
Yep.
So I think this is why people listen to us. To all our one fan out there, we know that you do rely on us because we accept you, we love you, and you're good enough.
You're very special.
You're all very special. We love you. You're very special. I love you. Anyway.
But no, I think that the people that have stayed in our circle, which, I mean, that circle has shrunk over the years.
Right.
So the people who still show up and still, want to be a part of our lives, I think they know that when you do tell us we need you, like, we're there.
Yeah. We do come to your aid.
My brain forgets to text you and ask you how you're doing on a regular basis, but if you tell me that shit's hitting the fan and you need to talk and you need to vent to me for 3 hours, I am there.
Yeah. Unless Papa Bear needs you.
And sometimes Papa Bear gets vetoed.
All right. Well, I think that's enough for this time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you very much for listening to us. We appreciate you very much. We are the Weirdos Next Door. Come find us on weirdosonline.com and check us out. Bye-bye.
Ta-ta.
Smash your social mores with the Weirdos Next Door.